Yeah, so hello everyone as well from my side. I will tell you something about how a Titan empowers our cloud monitoring infrastructure. Thank you, Tom, as well, for helping me with the title here. Um, yeah, so what I want to talk about today is like to do kind of a short overview on what Prometheus is, how we do monitoring here in Nine, and how we like moved from our old monitoring system to Prometheus. And yeah, and also want to talk just a little bit about application monitoring as well, because yeah, Prometheus is great for monitoring infrastructure, but it's also a really good thing, and can, or at least helped us a lot in monitoring applications as well. Yeah, so I will start sharing my screen so you're able to see the slides a little bit better. So I posted the QR code here, but there's also a link in the footer of every slide. So if you have questions, you can open that link and paste your questions in there, and we can answer them in the end of the presentation. And I also have like 3 pre-made questions in the beginning to just find out a little bit on how everyone is, yeah, just involved with Prometheus, if you use it already, or if you plan on using it or whatever. Yeah, but to start and just like to find out what Prometheus actually is and was and where it comes from, I wanted to give a short recap on the Greek version of Prometheus, or the original one could say. Um, we learned already from the title that it's a Titan, right? And Prometheus, the name, if you would translate it to English, or it means forethought in Greek. So he was kind of an intelligent Titan. And at some point in the Greek mythology, there was a fight between the Titans and the Olympians, so the gods living on the Olymp. And he was one of the few Titans who formed an alliance with them, with the Olympians. So after the Titans lost, he wasn't exited to Tartarus, and was able to go on with his life and also like stay in the Olymp. But yeah, at some point he betrayed them. He betrayed Zeus by giving the people the fire, so bringing the fire from the Olymp to the people. So he was punished because of that. Yeah, and he was how is it called? Chained. Yeah, exactly. He was chained to a rock on the top of a mountain, and an eagle came every day to eat from his liver, and it would heal during the night, and the eagle would come back the day after. Yeah, forever. But yeah, at least he was eventually freed by a hero called Heracles, which was son of Zeus. Yeah, one of many sons of Zeus. So to look at it from the other side, Prometheus in tech, sure, it's something else, right? But at least the fire stayed in the logo. Was built at SoundCloud, open sourced in 2012, and the second project to join, hosted project to join Cloud Native Computing Foundation in 2016. Yeah, for me, like the main things is that Prometheus is like a pool-based system. It's a time series database, and I also look at it that it's like more of a white box testing approach. But we will have a look and a comparison about this after. So yeah, I want to ask you 3 questions here. So if you open the link, you should already see the first question, and I give you like a few seconds to answer that. Sadly, I'm only able to display one question at a time. So do you use Prometheus already? It's like 50-50. So we will move on to the next one. Yeah, everyone is already using it at some point. So last question. Do you use Prometheus for application monitoring as well? From those who are already using Prometheus, they are using it also for application monitoring, or they're at least, if they're not using it, they're at least interested in using it, which is nice to hear. So yeah, I put on the overview page of the website, and you don't really have to like read through it all, but I just want to just shortly point out a few things which are important for this presentation, at least. So the first one is that it's a time series database, and it's the whole alerting part is managed by another application called Alert Manager. Yeah, and there are a lot of client libraries and integrations and stuff. Because it's so widely used already, it's pretty easy in most cases to integrate, and you can like use pre-made things, yeah, all over the place. Yeah. So how did we switch from our old monitoring approach to the new one? So yeah, just to make it clear, right, we also have a managed Kubernetes offering, and this is using Prometheus for monitoring from day one, I'd say. But we also have like a big managed infrastructure with this kind of standard server-based architecture, and we did the monitoring for this with Nagios for a long time. I made like an example of 2 data centers because you will see in the afterwards with the new architecture how we solved high availability and all those kinds of things. But here, like, we have a separate thing for alerting and visualization. That's the first thing to point out, and it's more of a black box testing approach because you have checks on each node, and they report back to the Nagios server if everything is all right or if it's broken. And then you eventually page someone afterwards. If you want to look at the dashboard or you want to visualize stuff, we had a completely different thing. So this was based on software called Telegraph, which is running on a host. It's kind of like a big exporter, if you already like know this term Prometheus kind of terms. And the data was moved to a time series database, in this case OpenTSDB, and afterwards one could have queried it with Grafana or something else just to view some dashboards and stuff. So yeah, what's different with the new architecture? In the first, I would say, if you look at it, it looks more complex, but I would say, don't let you, all the lines there. It's not too complex at all. So what we do is we have 2 Prometheus nodes per data center, and they all query matrix data from different services through HTTP. They don't know anything from each other. They even monitor each other as well. And what they do, you can, in Prometheus, you define rules, right? To alert if if a rule matches, then it will fire that rule to an alert manager. In this case, that's the yellow thing. What happens is, or because we have two separate instances of Prometheus, they're not clustered at all, whatever, and because they're monitoring each other as well, we have to kind of, like if something breaks, we probably have at least two alerts from the same thing. That's why Alert Manager is clustered. And yeah, it will reduce the amount of alerts to the ones needed, and eventually forward it to the on-call management, in this case PagerDuty. We also have an external service to check, to do like an SLA check mechanism, which is completely decoupled from our own infrastructure. The biggest difference here is that it's like a pool-based approach. We scrape the metrics over HTTP, and it's a high available setup. And what the good thing here now is, because Prometheus is a time series database, we don't need like completely different infrastructure for visualizing the data, but we can use the same part for getting the data. And in this case, we have like a central kind of, you can think of it as a central instance, like a long-term storage, where we push all the data from Prometheus to this long-term storage, because then we're easily able to query the data from Grafana with only one endpoint. There's like a nice discussion going on between those different long-term storage solutions. So if you want to have my take on that, feel free to ask. But there are multiple ones around with all their own benefits, but that works out great for us. So we scrape over 7,000 services. We now have like 280 billion data points. And like the biggest node, Prometheus node, we have scrapes about 4,000 endpoints a minute. And like, those tools, right, they're used a lot, that they work really reliably. For us, because we're not like in a ecosystem where we are able to use things like VPCs or something like that, we had to kind of figure out how to do the authentication for Prometheus pulling data. We ended up using a reverse proxy there to do SSL termination and authentication. Also service discovery, right? If you're in Kubernetes, it's kind of built in. We use Puppet for configuration management. So what we did, we built service discovery module based on PuppetDB, so that as soon as a service gets installed, it's also monitored. And there's also, we also alert on that service if we want to do that. What I think is really important to have is a deadman switch, so that you realize if your alerting infrastructure doesn't work anymore. So in the end, it's just an alert which is firing all the time. So you can, you can page someone if the alert isn't firing anymore. What's also a good one, so if you look up Prometheus like tutorials or reasons why to use it and stuff like that, what's an example used a lot is like alerting based on storage usage, and like using linear regression to predict, let's say, instead of alerting when 95% of the disk is full, you try to predict if this happens like today or tomorrow, and only alert at that point, which sounds like a great thing. It actually is as well, but in real life, at least for our situation, that didn't really work out, because we had sometimes you have customers like moving a lot of data to a system and it will alert immediately. So what we ended up is like combining, doing a different rule, which alerts only if there's at max 3% space left, and if this is also less than 3 GB of data. So we realized that prediction is nice, but it's also hard to get it right in the end. Also with the long-term storage, I was pretty surprised that it is able to handle such an amount of data. But that works out pretty well, and it's also really easy to optimize, because sometimes, at least in our case, it made sense to like drop some metrics. In the end, we dropped about 30% of the metrics because there was just so much data exposed we didn't even need. Yeah, and now I want to like come to the other part, to the application monitoring part. So we won't do like a code example or something like that, but I just wanted to show you like an end result, or like the benefits of having it implemented. So we will look at the dashboard from an API we are using. So it's a standard REST HTTP API. So it's really easy like to add a metrics endpoint to that. And in our case, right, we have in our team, we have a lot of technologies we need to master. So not everyone is, for example, able to really dive into the API if there's a problem, but they still kind of need to be able to find out if there's a problem or where it could be to get to the right people. So yeah, let's see if I can change my sharing to my main screen. So in this case, we monitor this API, which connects to some different backends. And yeah, we were able to see like how many queries there are coming in, like the response time of each backend, how many queries are made to the API itself. And yeah, this allows almost every engineer to like have a look at it and to see if there's something going on, and yeah, to eventually also be able to resolve that issue even without knowing anything about the code. Well, yeah, can't happen in every case, but at least we make a step further in that direction, right? Yeah. And my whole point about this is like, yeah, I think the focus is a lot, like it's still a lot about the monitoring infrastructure, but in the end, it's also really a nice tool to monitor your applications as well. So that's about it. And I will see if there are any questions, if any questions came in. Okay, yeah, let's start with long-term storage. Yeah, so we had a look at Phonos as well. Yeah, there's kind of a rivalry going on between those two, or at least the developer of Victoria Metrics is doing some stuff not everyone at Prometheus likes. But like for me as an engineer, I would have loved to try Phonos out, because it has these different parts who like work together, and it's really scalable. But in the end, it was and Victoria Metrics focuses really on simplicity. You have a binary, the same approach as with Prometheus and the other tools. You run it on your server, that's it. So our approach in the end was more of, yeah, if that works out for us, if that's enough, we don't have to engineer too much. to run Phonos and with a steeper learning curve, and we can move over to Phonos at some point anyways. So I think that was the main point. Does this answer your question, Chris? Well, you can put in another one if that doesn't answer your question. What do you use the long-term storage for? Okay, so yeah, on one side we want to be able to look back on the data, right? But there's also, so we also visualize some metrics for our customers in our like cockpit dashboard kind of thing. So we also want to be able to display to them. And yeah, I think those are the two main points, I would say. Do you do aggregation in long-term storage? Reduce data points after a certain time? That's a good question. And I'm actually not 100% sure. Not yet.
Deploy metrics can't do it.
Oh, it even can't. Okay. Okay. So yeah, Eric just told me it's not even possible in Victoria metrics. I know that we drop a lot of metrics already. The ones we know for sure that we won't use them also in the future. So systemd metrics in a node exporter, stuff like this. But yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, at the moment, at least, like from storage point of view, like our target was about to be able to go back about a year, and how it looks at the moment, we're easily able to do that in the current situation without changing anything in like doing aggregation or stuff like this. Did you implement a monitoring for the REST API in the application itself, or is there a proxy in front that you use? No, in this case, you really put the monitoring into the application so that the application itself has a metrics endpoint to be able to scrape. Yeah, and I think we could do a separate talk about this or how approaching stuff like this. But my experience was a really good one, so it was really easy to do and not a lot of effort, but a lot of benefits. Do you measure metrics from outside systems, power outlets, status cake? Yeah, so okay, good question. So we're actually planning on doing this at the moment, I think. Not sure if I forgot, but at least like power outlets and stuff like this, the separate team is looking at this at the moment, and they plan to do this as well, because they also see the benefits in using Prometheus. But not sure what the state of it is there. And we internally also like plan to use it for other things we monitor, right? So for example, overlaps of, well, we have to see if we really end up using that one, but at least now there's like the discussion, to monitor overlaps, for example, of shifts, on-call shifts and holidays or stuff like that. Because I think it's also, it can be used as well there. So thanks, Chris, for all the questions. And yeah, as there are no new ones coming in, from my side as well, thank you for tuning in, for listening. And yeah, I wish you a great afternoon, or if you watch the recorded session, have a great day.